Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Monday. Somebody said they can't hear me. Test, test, check one, two, three. You might not have been able to hear me because I wasn't talking yet, but hopefully you can hear me now. If you could let me know in the comments, that would be great. Just want to make sure we got people from all over. And I am so thankful for each and every one of you who tune in not only today, but on a weekly basis and support the show. Hopefully, the marketing tips that I share are very helpful to you. Today, we're going to be focusing in on websites. So, if you don't have a website, you might not be as interested in this, but there's still going to be a lot of information that I share that might be helpful just for your general knowledge. Sales and marketing go hand in hand. I had a 20-year career in business to business sales. I've been running Bowman Digital Media now for the last 3.5 years. We do digital marketing and we help our clients increase their visibility online. However, if you are not a business owner, you still can use a lot of the techniques and strategies that we talk about week in and week out to improve your own personal visibility, which can help you accomplish your professional goals, which is the name of the game with any marketing efforts should be to increase your ROI, return on investment. So if you're spending a certain amount of time doing a certain thing and it's not moving the needle, the question that I would beg to ask there is, why are you continuing to do it? Is there something else that you can use that resource, namely time, and devote to an activity that can help you increase your ROI? If you have been following me on social media for any given time, pardon me, I'm going to stand up for just a second. I'm going to show you a couple books that I've read recently because they might help you. They've been helping me, and I like to share stuff that's helpful. All right, so maybe self-serving a little bit, but we put out this book, Business Tips from the Trenches. It's expert advice to start your small business or side hustle. This is a book that I co-wrote with 12 of my friends, and we all shared tips and tricks as business owners that can help. So if you're looking for a book to start a side hustle or a business, this might be one that you want to pick up. This is Business Tips from the Trenches. Another book that I read that I absolutely love, it's a classic book. It's called Think and Grow Rich. This is the complete classic text. That's the one that I read from Napoleon Hill. This was written back in 1937. But it's interesting because this book is a case study. Napoleon Rich studied the 500 wealthiest people in the United States over a 20-year period, and then he wrote all about it. He's got a 13-point system on how you can think and grow rich by changing your mind. It's really a business philosophy book. I absolutely loved it. In fact, some of my friends and I are doing a book study. It's a weekly 1 hour book study, and we're just finished with chapter one. We're going into chapter two on Thursdays is when I do that. So I really like this book. The other one that I just finished last weekend, it's hard to see because of the bright lights, but it's called The Bitcoin Standard. Now, The Bitcoin Standard, this is not necessarily a book for everybody. The reason why it isn't is because it is, I'm seeing if I can get this in the light where it's easier to read. Anyways, it's called The Bitcoin Standard. Kind of a play off the term, the gold standard, if you will. But the book, The Bitcoin Standard, why I liked it, even though it is a heady book, it's got a lot of big words and technical. It's not really exciting. It's not like a fiction book where there's an interesting story per se, but it dives deep into the history of money. Hello, Biana, my friend Biana. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Haven't heard from you in a while, but I hope you are doing well. I am doing okay. This book dives deep. I think the first 6 chapters are actually not about Bitcoin at all, which is a little bit misleading because the name is called the Bitcoin Standard. But what it does is it walks you through the evolution and the history of money and how it works, which is really, really cool for business to understand how business works. So even if you were only to read the first 6 chapters, you would have a really good working understanding of how money works, how it's backed, how the gold standard came into play, how it left fashion basically because of World War II. Governments wanted to print more money. They didn't have the gold, so they abandoned the gold standard, and inflation ensued because they abandoned the gold standard. Anyways, then it gets into chapters, I believe, 7, 8, 9, and the rest of the book. What is Bitcoin? How does it work? Why is it uniquely positioned? And then at the end of the book, it kind of looks into some of the competitors of Bitcoin and why they would or would not work based on how they're set up. It's an interesting book. So those are the 3 books that I've most recently read. The one I'm reading right now, which I also really, really like, it's kind of, think of it like day trading advice. This is the book is called The 10-Minute Millionaire. And this is advice on a system that you can employ for strategic day trading, basically, um, and kind of cover yourself on either end. There's a formula and a system that it uses. It's an interesting read. I'm almost done. I'm on page 201, and there's 220 pages. So I've got 19 pages left. Then I'll be moving on to my next book. What is my next book, you might ask? Well, I don't know. I've got some options over here. I've got some options. I'm not sure. Stay tuned and I'll let you know. But anyways, all that's kind of a side topic. I just like to keep people informed on what I'm doing and where I get my information. I love to read. John Maxwell said it best, I believe, when he said, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. And I certainly want to be a leader. So I read a lot, which helps me stay informed. Today, we're going to talk about website traffic. Specifically, my question is, if you have a website, are you monitoring your website traffic at all? Because I talk to business owners every single day, and almost all of them, I would say probably 9 out of 10 are not monitoring their website traffic at all. It's kind of like they created the website, however much they invested in that, getting it to work, function properly, and then they abandon it in a sense where they're not staying up on it because it's not what they do. They're not in digital media space. They're not a WordPress developer or whatever they use to have their website created. So they just assume that now that the website exists, it's going to do its job in bringing in new business. And I hate to say it, but that's a fallacy, because it isn't, if you create it, they will come. There is work that needs to be done to keep the website not only running and functioning properly, but also drawing in your potential prospects. And a lot of that has to do with Google, social media, and email marketing. And then you can also add the 4th one, which is your, any advertising that you would do, or your cost per click CPC campaigns, or PPC. Some people call it pay per click, so you can call it either way. But those really are the 4 main ways that people are drawing in traffic. Now, if you've watched the show for any length of time, you know that I'm not a huge fan of pay per click or cost per click advertising. And the reason why is something called bounce rates. It's very inefficient. You pay for a lot of clicks and you get a lot of clicks, it's true, but most of those clicks, 80 to 90% in most cases of those people that you're paying to bring over, don't stay, they bounce, and that actually hurts your performance with Google. So I'm not a huge fan of it because the cost is high and it's very inefficient. However, doing organic SEO, good social media campaigns, good email outbound campaigns can make a huge difference. Why I'm not a big or major proponent, most small business owners, if you ask them what's their number one source of new business, will tell you with a badge of pride that their new business is primarily referral based, and they love it. They're excited about it. And I understand, because those referrals typically convert at a high rate and they're relatively inexpensive to acquire. So why wouldn't you want that to be your largest source of new business? Well, here's why. Because it's not scalable. You cannot scale on referral business because there's just not enough volume. The key word there is volume. You have to have enough volume if you really want to take your business and quadruple it or 10x it. There's just not enough referrals normally coming in for that to happen. Referrals are great for treading water or having very slow growth. So if you're not in a growth mindset, if you're just trying to basically maintain what you have, then referrals can be a great source to generate that low hanging fruit. But if you want more than that, if you want to grow by 2x, by 4x, by 10x, whatever you want to grow by, then we need to figure out ways to increase traffic and then let the website do its job. But here's a problem with that. If you're not monitoring your traffic on your website, how do you know what's bringing in more traffic and what isn't? I'm going to share my screen as I always do. And I'm going to show you some of the things that you can find not only on Bowman Digital Media, but on other places. All right. So let's get to it. All right. So right now, I am taking you over to this is Bowman Digital Media, and I'm in the search engine optimization service page or SEO. Okay. So I'm going to put that here in the comments. So if you want to jump over onto my YouTube channel, you can just copy or click on that and it'll take you straight over. Let me put that here on LinkedIn too. Find info on SEO and how to increase traffic here. All right. So now it's on, should be on Facebook, should be on LinkedIn, and should be on YouTube. Okay. So you can click on that and it'll take you to this page. The question that I'm asking is right up at the top. So there's 5 components of SEO, and we covered that a few weeks back. So by way of review, these are 5 basic components of SEO. There's the structure, the on-page content, the site speed, backlinks, and visitor traffic. Well, today we're going to be focusing on number 5 because it is probably the one that's the hardest to generate, but can be the one that is the most profitable. So let's look at it. The very first thing I would ask you is, when is the last time you checked to see how your business website ranked on Google? It's important to know how your website ranks for the keywords, which again, we've talked about keywords at length in previous episodes. We'll review it a little bit again today. But it's important to know how your website ranks on Google so you can create informed SEO marketing strategy. Now, the very first thing about this is you have to kind of understand your market. Are you competing locally only? Are you competing with some other geofence that's constrictive? For example, maybe state only because of licenses, like maybe you're only licensed to work where you live. I live in California currently, so am I licensed to only work in California? Well, then the rest of what people find outside of California becomes irrelevant, and I need to focus on what we call that geo territory, right? So it could be citywide, countywide, statewide, could be a geographical territory like the South or the West or the East or something like that. Could be the country, United States. That happens to be the case with a lot of my clients. They're only interested in traffic, what's happening inside the United States, because that's where they do business. Okay, great. And then some of us, Bowman Digital Media included, we will cover the entire world. So I don't have a geo fence per se. But what I need to understand is whatever that territory is, and then what we call more demographics, the ICP. Let me just explain that real quick. ICP, and it's actually found on my website. So let me share again and just scroll down and show you where you can find it. It's actually all the way at the very bottom. You scroll all the way down. Okay. Don't ignore demographics. Understand ICP. What is ICP? It stands for Ideal Customer Profile. So you'll hear me say the term ICP a lot. And what I mean with that is, who is your ideal client, but they're not a client yet, right? They're in these categories where if they knew about you and they knew about your offering, they would be highly interested in what you have to offer. So you need to figure out who that is. So you need to identify who the ICP is, understand their pain points and their preferences. If you can do those things, you are well on your way to a marketing strategy that will help you not only get website traffic, but turn prospects into buyers. And ultimately, that's what website traffic is there for. So you figure out how to get them from wherever they are online to your website, and then your website should be set up in a way where it communicates to their pain points and to their interests. Okay, because if it isn't a pain point for them and they're not interested in it, they're less likely to buy it, far less likely to buy it. Even if you know it's good for them. It's like medicine or vitamins. How many of us know that vitamins are generally considered good for us, right? But how many of us actually take them? I know they're good for me and I don't take them. I fall into that category. Why? Frankly, because my pain point isn't high enough that I want them. I don't want them. Obviously, I don't take them. If I really wanted them, I would take them, but I don't because paying the cost for them or being regimented enough to take them obviously hasn't gotten me to move to a point where I'm actually taking them. So if you sell vitamins out there, I'm probably not a great prospect for you because I don't want them. You get it? Okay, so that's kind of how it works. All right. So if you have not formally identified your avatar, avatar is just another way of saying your ideal prospect, right? Then you can miss out on large portions of sales with wasted time, wasted money, simply throwing out ideas and seeing what sticks. There's no system there, there's no collecting of data, there's no analyzing of data, then you're likely just guessing and you don't even have good information to help you guide in your guesses. That's not a good place to be. So, marketing is about data and analyzing data, making informed and strategic campaigns, and then adjusting to the results in a repeated fashion. So, in other words, you find data, you come up with the strategy, you implement the strategy, and then you analyze what happened. There was the theoretical part. Well, they should be interested in this based on what I know. So I'm going to do that to educate them about this. And then if they don't move, well, you had a couple different potential issues there, but you either had the wrong message or the wrong delivery vehicle, right? And so both of those could happen. All right. So the goal, however, is to generate sales. Understanding the preferences, mindset, budget, and problems that your ICP face on a regular basis is the key to generating higher profits in a shorter amount of time. Again, this is all about sales. But you got to get people in position to make the sales. You've got to communicate with them where they are, about what they're interested in, and how you can help them accomplish their goals. Forget your goals. Your goals should be to increase sales, right? But to do that, you've got to show them how you and your product or services can help them with what they actually want. And if you do that, then you again increase sales in a shorter amount of time than just playing this referral game and waiting for referrals to come in. Okay. If you're not sure how to identify your ICP, contact us for help. This is something that we actually can help you with. So, first things first, if you have no idea who your ICP is. In other words, who is the group? Who is who what percentage of the population or what part of the population is interested or should be interested in what you have to sell or the services that you offer. You need to start there. A lot of people should actually do this before they launch their business, frankly, because they start with an assumption that because I'm good at this and because this is important to me, there are other people out there that this is also going to be interesting enough to that they're going to be willing to hire me to do it or buy my product for it. And that's not always true. Okay. So you have to make sure that you have enough of an interested client base or prospect base for the products and services that you have to offer. Related to what? Related to how much it costs to operate your business. So let's say it takes $10,000 a month to operate your business, then you can only generate sales of $2,000 a month. Well, if you don't have a reserve of a certain amount of money, and this is where business analysts will maybe disagree a little bit on how much should be in reserve, but let's say for a year at least, right? So you don't have $120,000 in reserve somewhere, then you're going to run out of money in that very first month or however much reserve. Let's say you only had $50,000. Well, then you only got 5 months to start cranking sales out of over $10,000, right? So identifying that pool, how many people are in it? And then looking at the competition rates, going, okay, in this particular market, it's either underserved or it's overserved or it's somewhere in between. You want to understand these conditions. But if you have not identified your ideal client prospect, then that's where I would start. You need to understand it. Why? Well, positioning. I used this example a couple weeks ago. I'll use it again because it's readily in my mind. I had a client who hired me to help run their marketing services for a year. Okay, so it was a 1-year contract. And when I went in to start working for them, they already had pre-existing marketing strategies in place. So I asked them, I had the two owners of the business in a meeting, and I asked them this very question. Who is your, and I think I said avatar just to be completely transparent, but I might have said ICP, but either way, it means the same thing. Okay. Avatar is who demographically fits your specific perfect clientele, right? So it could be age, it could be income level, could be geographical where they are, it could be how much money they make, it could be the industry that they're in, could be if they have kids or don't have kids. I mean, there's so many different factors, but these factors you look at help you determine, okay, this is my target audience. Now, why is that so important? It's important because of messaging, right? We need to understand their pain points and their desires. It's how Sin City became Sin City. Going to Las Vegas is not good for your pocketbook in most cases. It's certainly not good for your health if you're out late and partying and doing all these things. But people still spend exorbitant amounts of money. In fact, they travel from all over the world to go to these shiny, blinking, glitzy places and give up thousands and thousands of dollars. And they do it with a smile on their face and they leave thinking they had the time of their life, right? But was it good for them? Yeah, not really, right? Probably would have been better for them to take that money, invested in something that was going to make them money. And their liver and their lungs and everything else would probably be better off for not have going to Las Vegas, but they wouldn't have had the time of their life. And so there's that trade-off. But here's the point. People want to go to Las Vegas and they want to have all that fun, right? Is there an opportunity cost for it? Is there a real world cost for it? Yes, but it is, that cost does not exceed what they're willing to spend for it. You understand? Once that balance shifts and there's more cost associated or more pain associated with the price tag than what they value that price tag at, that's where sales stop or at least start to slow down. Okay. So you can use that model any way you want. Now back to my story. It's my pleasure to add value. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. And again, I really appreciate it. All right. So when I was sitting down with the owner of this company, and I'm not going to tell you the name of the company because I don't want to embarrass them, but I'm sitting down, there's two owners. I asked them this question and they had a pretty detailed answer, which was great. So I wrote the answer down and then I did something they weren't expecting. I started to go through the clients that they actually had and test the validity of the avatar, the ICP, against their actual clients. And I was shocked, and they were shocked to find that their avatar and all the marketing campaigns that they had employed were different than the actual clients that they had signed up. And so here was the avatar. The avatar was 55 to 70 years old, small business owner, net worth somewhere in the $5 to $20 million range, working on a business that was profitable, working on a business that they basically wanted to retire from. So they wanted to sell it and not get into another business venture, but go off into retirement. So that they needed to, when they sold it, make enough money or exit with enough money that it could fund their retirement. That was the basic, there were other things in it, but that was the basic avatar formula that they gave me. But when we actually looked at the clients that they had, we found that they were more like 35 to 50, not 55 to 70. There's a huge difference there because we have a generation gap. Okay. But also, a lot of their clients were not going into retirement when they sold. They were going to take that money and reinvest it in another. So there was an equity buy. They were going to buy into another investment, usually another business. So in essence, it was kind of like a business flip. Now, it wasn't a true flip because they didn't buy it with the intention to run it for 2 years and then sell it. That would be a true business flip. But they were owners that were looking to basically trade out and trade up, or at least trade out. For whatever reason, they didn't want to be in that particular holding anymore. And that was their clients. Now, could you imagine their marketing campaign was created to reach one particular set of people, but their clients were completely different. And so when they were getting referrals and when they were marketing on social media, marketing keywords for Google, how ineffective that strategy was, because the people they were helping were there for a completely different reason, different mindset. And so the message they had didn't help them sell. It actually turned people away. It's like, this isn't what I'm looking for. Right? Now they still got business because of referrals, but they weren't growing the way they could have. So by identifying, even though it was a little bit painstaking to identify, okay, well, the only time your ICP really should be guessing, and there's ways to eliminate the guess, by the way, because you have competition. Unless you create a brand new product that's never been done, and Solomon said it so wisely, I believe, in the Song of Solomon, but nothing is new under the sun, truly, right? So there's always models that we can look at. There's industries and forecasts that we can look at, historical data that we can look at, and we can get a really good idea, even if you think you have a brand new product or service that's never been done before. The odds are there's something similar that we can look at to get some insights. But anyway, the only time that that's actually true anyways is in that very pre-launch stage, right? You haven't made any sales yet. You haven't made any calls yet. So you're just kind of guessing a little bit at who the ICP should be. But once you have historical data, for example, Bowman Digital Media, we've been in business now for 3.5 years. I could tell you exactly who my ICP is. It doesn't necessarily match where I thought it was going to be when I launched, but it's not actually that far off. But there are some differences. Okay. So there are larger companies than what I originally thought that have not only been interested, but actually hired us to do work. I have several of them that are still active to this day, right? I knew that small business owners, entrepreneurs, people with, let's say, under 5 employees, they were definitely going to be interested in what Bowman Digital Media had to offer for a variety of reasons, including they didn't understand this whole social media thing. They didn't understand how Google works. They have a website, but they don't know what to do with it. They don't understand how to get keywords to rank on Google. And frankly, they don't care to know. They just know they need somebody to do it for them so they can increase their sales. I've got a text on my phone this morning from one of my newer clients with that kind of questioning, just off the top, like, hey, how do we actually get traffic? We've just started this a couple weeks ago. So how do we get from where we are to where I want to be? And how long does that take? And how much will that cost me? Those kinds of questions are normal. And that's the kind of clientele that I deal with. Okay. So that part I always knew was going to happen. The larger clients and some of the industries that they're in, and I've worked in a variety of industries. So I knew that service-based companies were from the very beginning going to be interested in my services. But I've also had financial industry clients. I've had manufacturers. I've had people in the e-commerce space, and I've had nonprofits. And I didn't necessarily know at the beginning that those categories would also be interested in my services. But I've learned, and my ICP has changed, has broadened a little bit to include some of those categories. And because the ICP has changed, The marketing message has changed a little bit. The keywords that I go after have changed. So I've given you a lot of, we're 30 minutes in, a lot of by way of introduction information. Okay. Now, if you have a website and you want me to evaluate it on this show and kind of help you track some of these things, we can look it up on Google. I've got some tools that I'm about to share that we can track how your website performs and how it ranks against your competition. If you're interested in a free analysis, now it will be public because I'm going to do it live on the show. But if you want me to look at your website, go ahead and put that in the comments right now. Okay. And by the way, if you ever have any questions at all during the show, you can always put those in the comments section. I'll be happy to answer those. So just put them in the comments. Now, I monitor LinkedIn. I've got LinkedIn. So I've got 3 monitors. So over here is LinkedIn. And here I've got YouTube and Facebook monitoring. So I can see the questions no matter where you put them. All right. So if you got a question for the show, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I will see it and away we'll go. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over and show you guys just a little bit about how you can track your own performance on online. And you don't even have to spend any money. Now you can spend money and you might want to spend money. But whoever it is, let me get back. Let me just do this real quick. Whoever it is that's in charge of monitoring your website traffic should be spending some money to monitor it. Let me just make that clear. Whoever it is that is monitoring your website performance, keeping an eye on how your marketing strategy is actually performing, should be spending some money on tools to help them see more. Because while you can find information on yourself for free using Google Analytics, and that's the first tool I'm going to share, there are other tools out there that will help you monitor the performance of your competitors. So you can keep an eye on how they're doing. You can also figure out where they're getting some of their traffic from. And then you can either mirror it to be an also ran, or you can try to develop strategies to overtake them. And in my estimation, in marketing, you should be doing a little of both. You should be trying to keep up with them, and you should be trying to supplant them or overcome them. You should be doing both. If your head is in the sand and you just have a website out there and whatever happens, happens, that's probably why you get your clock cleaned by your competition. And you might not even realize that you're getting your clock cleaned. And they say what you don't know can't hurt you, but in this case, it can hurt you. Because you can go from first place to last place really fast just because one simple thing that came out, or an adoption of an algorithm, and you didn't keep up with it and you got left behind. I have a client with me now that was with a former marketing provider just 2 months ago. And the reason why they went from first place to fourth place is because there were some things that they didn't do. The people that they were hiring before did not do some of these things that they should have been doing. Their competitors were doing it. And so over time, they lost their rankings on Google. And so the traffic they were getting from Google by being in that first dominant position, they no longer get, because they're now not even top 3. And if you're not in top 3, here's a statistic that might make you go, oh crap. All right. Some statistics. Watch my SEO TED Talk. It is my second TED Talk on SEO, and I'll detail this out for you. But here's some quick math. If you go to Google, the first page of Google, let's do it real fast, just so I can show you on the fly. Okay. And then I've got a couple websites. Cherie, my sister from another Mister up in Canada, I'm going to look at hers. And then I've got, who is this? This is Oli's. Okay. Oli, you need to update your LinkedIn information, buddy, so that we can see who you are. And then we've got Emmanuel. Got a couple people from West Africa right now, which is pretty cool. But Cherie, you're on deck. Steadfast Developments. I'll check that out in a second and then give you some insight. Okay, but the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go over to Google. Okay, so we're going to go to Google and let's look up. It could be anything. Let's do this. Let's look up marketing in where I live is a town called Moreno Valley. Okay. So we're going to look that up. It's in California. Oh, it said market, not marketing. Sorry. Marketing in Moreno Valley. All right. So the first thing that you're going to see when you do that is you're always going to see the ads. This is why people pay, right? So these ads. But again, the reason why I don't like these ads is because the bounce rate on these, again, just math, 80 to 95% bounce rate, meaning that 8 to 9.5 people who click on these won't ever actually stay on the website that they click to, even though the company gets charged. The reason why is you haven't built any trust with them. And so if they don't see exactly what they want, the minute they click over, they're gone, right? Sometimes they don't even wait for the website to load up. That's why site speed is so important. So where you want to really be is right here. First place, number one on the map, right? Because if I'm searching for marketing in Moreno Valley, the odds are I actually want somebody local. And so this is what we call SEO local SEO. How do you get this? That's the whole topic for another show. Okay. But you want to be there. And there's my website. If I click on it, watch what happens. It takes me over to my website. That's what we want. That's what you want. Good SEO. That's where you're going to be. Okay. So this is super important, especially for mobile. Okay. Now, as good as that sounds, and I would love to say that I'm number one on marketing in Moreno Valley when it comes to SEO, Google organic placement. This is the number one spot. People didn't pay for this position. Happens to be Yelp. They didn't pay for this position. Google is saying this is the best place to go to get marketing in Moreno Valley. Now, if I click on this, hopefully Bowman Digital Media will be in there. I believe it is, but again, that's for another show. What I want to emphasize is this right here. This is first place. This is second place. This is third place. Okay. This is fourth place. Do you know what the difference is between this one and this one when it comes to the math? Let me give you some math here. 75% of all people, first of all, will never get past this one page. They're going to stay here on the very first page, and whatever's on here, that's what they're going to pick from. 25% of people will go on to page 2, but 7.5 out of 10 people are going to stay here on the first page. It's extremely important, the math, okay? The math also tells us that 30% of people are going to click on this first position. They're not going to click on this one, which breaks my heart. There are people that will, but 30% of the people are going to click on this one, okay? So this is the spot you want to be at any given point. You want to be first place for what we call your keyword search. In this case, the keyword search was marketing in Moreno Valley, CA. All right. If I change that to digital marketing, then this would change. In fact, let me do that real quick just to show you. The search does make a difference in what you see. Okay. Now I'm still there first place because, again, business local SEO, done a good job with that, focused on that. Okay. First place on the map. That's a good thing. But now look, instead of Yelp, now it's this ICS creative agency. And then it's, what is that? It says expertise.com. Let me change the view here just so you guys can see it a little better. All right. So expertise.com, and then it's Raincross. These three right here are going to get 60% of all the Google traffic because of the position they're in. It's 30% for the top one and another 30% for the next two. They split it, okay? So 60% of all search traffic is going to go what's in position 1, 2, or 3 of page 1. So this is where the money is. I'm not there, and I want to be there, and I'm not even on the first page, which means I still have work to do. SEO is a marathon, not a sprint. If somebody ever says that you can pay me X amount of dollars for a one-time shot of SEO, just know that you're talking to the wrong person, because SEO needs to happen for the duration of your website. As long as you want traffic to come through Google, or you want to be found from people who don't already know you exist, they don't have your business card with your, website address on it. They don't have an email from you with your website address on it. You need to find you need them to find you just by searching for you, then search engine optimization should be a component of your marketing, and it needs to happen each and every month. Why? Because dynamic forces in the algorithm, in consumer mindset, and just in marketing strategies as a whole are always changing. So you have to be flexible in your positioning and move as needed to take advantage of trends, right? You don't want to do it just because it's always worked in the past, because that may have been true, but it means nothing moving forward because things can change on a dime in marketing. Okay. So just understand that. But the very first thing that you want to know is where you want to be is right here in the first, second, or third spot. Now, there are lots of keywords that Bowman Digital Media competes for. And in some of those cases, we actually are in the first 3 spots and we work hard to maintain our positioning. But it's actually easier to get here than it is to stay here, because once somebody gets in that first slot, it's like now they've got a target on their back and everybody's aiming at them. Okay. So it isn't ever about just dominating one single keyword expression. However, that's a good thing. It should make you money, especially if there's any volume associated with the keyword traffic that you generate. But that should be the goal with your marketing. Okay. If you are reliant on sales coming from prospects who don't know you exist, but who would purchase from you if they did know what you do and how you could help them get what they want. Remember here the vitamin analogy. I might need it. I might be better off to have it, but if I don't want it, then you telling me all about how wonderful the vitamins are probably aren't going to change my mind. We have to start from that position of what do they want? They have to be in a position to be able to afford what you have to sell. That's another criteria. So you could sell, I was going to say something stupid. I'm glad I didn't. All right. You could sell books. Let's go with books. All right. I got a book for sale. I've got multiple books for sale. This is my latest. In about 2 weeks, I got another book coming out, but we'll get there in a minute. All right. Okay. So I'm selling books. All right. It's one of the things I sell. So who do I want to sell this to? Well, I want to sell it to people who want to launch or have recently launched a small business or a side hustle, which is also still just a business, but it's something. So let's say, you want to do coaching on the side, right? Well, if you want to do coaching on the side, you're a perfect candidate to read this book. Why? Because there are some people in here who do coaching and they've shared tips on what they wish they knew if they were starting over. And you can read them in this book, right? So let's say, and this book, I think the hardcover is $24.99, I think. Anyways, it's something like $25. Well, let's say I got people super excited to buy this book, but none of them had any money, or they didn't have $25 anyways. How much good would it do me to get all those people excited about something they can't afford? Probably not great. Now you say, Ira, how do you know if they can afford it or not? Well, there's a variety of ways to know, actually. But let me tell you what we do to help make sure they can afford it. We want to put out our message in places where those people hang out, right? So, if, say, for example, you're looking for college educated people that make over $100,000 a year. Okay, well, we can do a variety of things. We can figure out what social media channels they hang out on. We can figure out what newspapers they read, what magazines they read, what TV shows they watch, what podcasts they watch. We can even get lists from emails. We can buy a list. We can buy a mailing list to do traditional mail. There is a variety of ways to reach those people. Once we've identified who they are, then we can see their what we call their consumer behaviors, and then we can go hang out in places and advertise in effect. But we can get our messaging out in those places that match, right? But now that's a theory. Here's the people that should be able to afford it and be interested in it. Then we implement a strategy to reach those people. And then after a certain given time, usually 30 days, we can monitor how well that campaign worked. And then we can adjust the strategy based on real world results at that point, which is a really good thing to do. Okay. And you're always making adjustments because real world data comes in. Now you have another data point to analyze, evaluate, and make more theories for, right? You come up with a new hypothetical, a new hypothesis, a hypothesis based on the data that you have. All right. So how does this all translate? Let's go to steadfast developments, and I'm going to show you some stuff here. Okay. So we're going to come over. I'm going to shift down to here. I'm going to get rid of this little banner for the moment. Okay. Just to get that out of the way. Now I'm going to come to now, one of the things that you can do, and I like this little video that you've got going on. The run speed's probably a little bit fast, just in my opinion. You might want to slow that down a little bit. That's just a side note. You don't want to make people dizzy. But what does it say? It says mitigating poverty and preventively. That's what we're here. We're here for good, right? And so these are the things they're trying to help. Now, there's all kinds of things that I could say about this, but we don't have the time. So we're considering traffic. So one of the things that I would ask Cherie, and you can feel free to answer in the comment section here. When people are searching for you on Google, what are they searching for? What are the terms that they use? Is it mitigating? Is it poverty? Is it preventatively? Because if it isn't, then we probably need to adjust this. I want to take you over to my website for just one moment to give you an example of what I'm talking about. So if you go to my homepage, it's not as fancy as yours, but it's not as fancy as yours by design. Now, forgive me, my picture's in the way, so I'm going to remove your comment just for a second so that they can see what's there. Okay. It says Bowman Digital Media SEO Agency. That's what it says at the very top. Now, in this particular view, the screen that I'm sharing is not set up 1920 by 1080, which is your standard size. Let me show you what you guys would actually see. You would see this, okay, with that background. So it's a little cleaner. But this is the thing that stands out to people because the contrast is really high and it goes straight to a pain point that they have. Okay. Yeah. And she answered no. That's not what they're searching for, which doesn't surprise me because I know what Cherie does because I love her like a sister. And she and I have talked a lot. Okay. And I've done some photography work for her too, which is really cool. Okay. So why does a company that does not do any sales for any of our clients, you cannot hire Bowman Digital Media to do any sales work for you? But why do I ask this question? Need more sales. The reason why I ask this, Cherie, and everybody else who's watching, is because that is the major pain point that business owners are trying to figure out the solution to, that I can help them overcome, even though I don't offer direct sales work for my clientele. We do marketing services. How does it help? We help drive more traffic to our clients' websites to increase their sales. That's how it helps. Want to rank higher on Google is another thing that you'll see. Now, depends on how you're viewing this, but if you go to my website and view this 1920 by 1080, you will see this question at the bottom of your screen. So last thing you'll see. And what most people will do is they'll come and they'll click and watch this video, which I want them to do. Okay. And I specifically want them to click it. This is why the video doesn't autoplay, because when they click it, Google actually gives me a, they call it user engagement, but I get extra credit for user engagement when they do this. So that's what I want them to do. I want them to hit that button. Okay. So this isn't about me. I'm just showing you. All right. Whatever. Let's come back to you. So on your site, my guess is since they're not searching these words, what's probably happening way more than you want to even know about, truthfully, is people are coming from Google after finding you for the words they're actually searching for. They see this and they bounce. What does that mean? bounce. What it means is this. The technical definition of a bounce is a little bit different than what I'm going to tell you because I want you to actually understand what I'm saying. All right. But a bounce is when someone comes to your website, but they don't stay on your website. They don't go through your website, scroll through the pictures. They don't watch the videos. They don't do anything but come to your site and leave your site. Why is that? Well, it isn't because you don't have what they're interested in on your site somewhere. It's because you haven't made it so easily identifiable that they know for sure in a quick 3-second summarization of your, a scan of your header that's covered on the site, and they don't trust you enough to go through your content, especially if they're coming over from a pay per click ad, right? For whatever reason, you've got paid ads talking about this or that, but your website header information doesn't reflect that. The odds are, and this could be true for an interior page or what we call a landing page, just as much as your home page. Okay. But whatever page you're driving them to, if they come there from a Google search for keywords, but they don't see the natural correlation between those keywords, that ad, and what you're displaying, the odds are they are going to leave. Okay. And so that is called a bounce. And a bounce is bad for a variety of reasons because a lot of times you're only going to get that person to come to your website one time. So if they come doing a search for a particular keyword to your website, they don't see the obvious correlation between what you wrote or what was listed on Google or wherever they found you and what they were expecting to see, then they're going to leave. All right. So the reason why I need more sales and want to increase your rankings on Google is the two questions at the top of my website, a digital marketing website, is because those are the two most common things that people are searching for when they're searching for somebody who does what we do at Bowman Digital Media. They don't necessarily know how we do it, and I don't necessarily explain it. They're on the homepage. Although if you watch the video, I give you some insight. Okay. But the fact is, I need them to know they're in the right place. So your website header or your landing page header, the information at the top before they do any scrolling, should specifically address the things that you're trying to drive traffic to that web page or find people who are interested in that to your web page so that you can give them the reassurance that yes, they're in the right place and no, they're not wasting their time. Because time is the one thing you can't buy more of. It's a limited resource. And people have a very short attention span and they have a very low tolerance for wasting time. Even though people spend hours binging Netflix and watching countless TikToks or whatever, the YouTube shorts or the Facebook, the reels and the lives and all that stuff, right? People waste so much time. It's ridiculous, but they have a very low tolerance for websites. So you have to get to it quick. So one of the first things that I would highly recommend for you, just as a strategy change, Sheree, is to get that, get this part of your website updated to those keywords, and probably should be in the form of a question. Okay. Because if you do that, and it could be, hey, are you looking for ways to improve? And then you fill in the blanks, poverty in urban centers, or what do you do if you're trying to rebuild your life or something like that? Again, I don't know what those phrases are without talking to you. We could have a consultation about it and we could fix it, but it's got to be something that addresses, again, it's not the need, because I understand the need of what you're trying to do, but it's got to address the actual want of the target audience you're trying to resonate with. Right? Because of the rest of the people, it doesn't really matter. If I brought 500,000 people to your website and none of them were interested in what you do, it actually doesn't really matter. Right? That's, it helps you theoretically in some ways, but it doesn't help you move the needle. And you're trying to move the needle both figuratively and and otherwise. right? With the work that you're doing. But how do I check and see how you're doing? Well, there's a couple ways. The very first thing that I can do, let's say I'm not Steadfast Developments, because I'm not. I don't have access to their backend Google Analytics data, but I do have access. Remember, I said there's tools that you can buy and there's tools that you can use for free. Well, right here, I'm showing you a tool that is either or. Okay. This is called Moz Chrome Extension. And Moz's Chrome extension is a free tool, but if you purchase their platform, access to their what they call SaaS, software as a service, then you actually get more data. And I actually have the more data turned on here. Okay. So right now I can tell you a few things. Moz thinks that the strength of your homepage is rated at a 19. This is a scale from 0 to 100. This is important to note. Okay. So it's saying your homepage content with everything factored in is rated at a 19. Now, is that good or bad? We don't know yet. That's just something to write down. Okay. Now we come over here and we get something that's a little bit discouraging. And this is saying that your domain authority, now this isn't just for the page that we're on, this is for the whole site, is rated at a 5. Again, the scale is 0 to 100. We don't want to be at 5 ever, but that's where we are. Okay. But it's just a data point. Write that down. We don't have to be emotional about it, positive or negative. But now we have some clues in how we can build it. We have 20 links. These are backlinks on other websites that point back to Steadfast Development. So in other words, there are 15 websites out there that aren't Steadfast that are saying, hey, if you want information about this particular topic, you should go check out steadfastdevelopments.com. That's just a matter of fact. That's a number that we always want to increase. If you want to know how to improve your SEO, remember there are 5 basic components. You've got your website structure. That's things like the information on the header and landing points that particularly address your target audience, your ICP, your avatar. Okay. You want to ask them things that touch their pain point and what they want. So do you want to increase sales? Do you want to increase Google traffic? Touches a nerve for my avatar, for my ICP, for my ideal prospect. Okay. You've got your on-page content. You've got your website speed. Now this one right here, this is the backlinks. That's what we're referring to right here. You've got 20 of them for your homepage from 15 different websites. That's how you read it. Okay. Now here's the same information. This is the same information. And this is actually something that you want to note in on too. And you're doing very well here, Cherie. So here it's saying you have a spam score of 1%. It could be up to 100, but typically you want a spam score under 5% and you're there at 1%. So you're good. So Cherie asked a question, which is pretty good. How did I even get a 5? Well, you got a 5 because your website works. You've got a 5 because you have content on it. And you've got backlinks that point to it. So that's how you get to a 5. How do you get it up? Well, how you get it up is a couple things. You improve the content on your website, and that's these 5 things here. You improve probably your metadata and your backend stuff. So like maybe you don't have a schema. You might not have a robots.txt. You might not have a sitemap. Your H1 tags might be out of whack. You might not have the right H2s. You might not be following Yoast flushability rules. There's quite a few things. You might not have pillar content. There's all kinds of stuff there. Okay. With your structure and your on-site content, your website speed might be enhanced in a way that you can speed it up. And by speeding it up, you'll get a better score on that. More backlinks is something that you should be working towards each and every month. I don't care who you are. I don't care what website you have. You should always be trying to add healthy backlinks. Okay. And then visitor traffic. How do we get more people to us? Well, doing these 4 things alone will help. But then there's also the other things like outbound marketing, right? So email campaigns, social media campaigns, doing TEDx talks. Maybe you have a promotion, a referral promotion or an affiliates program, anything like that, loyalty program. There's all kinds of ways to draw in traffic, traditional mail, right? Sending people to trade shows, writing a book. There's a lot of different ways to get your name and your business out forefront and center to the audience. But how you got a 5 was by building the site and having this site up. Okay. So, what do I do with this information? Now, assuming I don't have analytics information for steadfast development, which I don't, I just happen to have stellar insight up. That is not them. This is somebody else. We'll go to me real fast. Okay. Because I don't want to embarrass anybody. All right. So, one of the things that we want to do here is we want to come and look at traffic. Now, in this particular case, I have the last 7 days up, and this is the traffic that I had, right? So I had 14 people, I had 10 people, I had 4 people, I had 16 people, I had 18 people, I had 13 people, and I had 5 people yesterday on a Sunday. Okay. So these aren't necessarily great results, but it is what it is. I've got one person on my website right now. We can track this and we can do it for a different length of time. We can look at 28 days, 90 days, or we can set custom stuff. Okay. This is all what you can do as long as you have Google Analytics set up on your website, and you should because it's free. Okay. But I can't look at this information for anybody who doesn't give me access. So my clients will give me access, but my competitors obviously will not. So what do I do if I am stellar steadfast developments and I want to look at my competition? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to know who your competition is. Cherie, do you happen to have a competitor website handy that you could send me? Because if I try to Google it, it might be a little bit hard. Now, there are some tools where you can go, like, for example, we could go to, oh my gosh, I just had my brain froze up. SEMrush. Sorry. Here's one way you can find it. If you have no clue who your competitor is or who Google thinks it is anyways, then this is what you can do. Come to your site. By the way, one of the things you can do to get your website up, you need to get your SSL certificate implemented, because right now it's not, right? Whether you have one or not, it's not showing that you do. And so this is bringing down your domain authority score. It's actually a Google penalty because there are people on computers that it won't even let them go there without that site certificate in place. Yeah, a lot of people have no idea. They think that they have no competition, but you do. Even if they're not direct competition, they're competition for eyeballs on Google. That's a way to think of it. Who would Google send them to instead of sending them to you? You're losing traffic to somebody. That's who you're losing it to. So I'm going to show you who Google thinks it is, or at least likely suspects, and how you can find it as well. Okay. So you come here, you grab that. I copied it real fast. Now I'm going to paste it in here. This is a free tool. Again, SEMrush is another one that you could pay for, but I haven't paid for it. All right. So let's see what it tells us. It's going to tell us a few things. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of the niche excuse. We don't want to live on excuses here. Okay. So this gives us a different ranking. It says our authority score is 2. That's okay. It's a 2. It doesn't matter. It's low. We want to get it up, right? It's saying your organic search traffic is 0, by the way. It is saying that you have more backlinks. I can explain that. This is backlinks to the whole site, not just the one page. And so that's why there's some discrepancy. Also, these different services monitor things a little differently. So sometimes they give you credit for something that the other one doesn't. Like, for example, a LinkedIn profile might give you credit on SEMrush or Ahrefs and not on Moz or any combination thereof. So I don't freak out about the discrepancy too much. You just know you want as much as possible. Now, you happen to be in Canada. I know that because I know you. So where are your traffic coming from? Well, frankly, it's saying you're not getting any from keywords, right? You've got 3 potential keywords, but you're not getting any traffic from them. So that's a problem. But we knew that. We want to get your traffic up, right? Okay. So this is showing me what it thinks your traffic is. I guarantee you've got more traffic than this. This is why I don't like this particular tool. I find this to be highly inaccurate. Okay. So I'm ignoring that for the moment. When I'm going to come down with this one and look for just specifically is I'm going to look for competition. Okay, this is where it's saying your backlinks are, by the way, just in case you're curious. And there are a few different types to note. There's not follow, follow. These are better than these. Okay, there's also UGC and sponsored ads. These are all backlink types. They're all text, not images. Images, just so you know, tend to get more clicks than text only links. So if you can work on your images, and we could discuss how offline. But this is, where is it? It's not even showing me what I want. Why not? Main paid competitors, competitive positioning map. Hang on. It's not giving me what I want. I'm just seeing if it's somewhere else. Shoot. It's not helping me. It's not helping me. Bummer. Okay, well, I'll have to come back to that. Normally it would be right here. But again, because of your niche, maybe it's just like, I don't know what else to show you. But it should be right here. And I'm not seeing it anywhere. That's a bummer. Okay. Main paid competitors. This is for PPC, CPC, but it's not. And it looks like you're not doing any paid ads, which is fine. That's actually what I recommend. So that's not a problem. I don't have anything there either. So unless they've changed it, let me do this real quick. Let me just pop in mine real fast and see if they've gotten rid of it. Most of you watching should be able to do this and get this one part. And I don't like SEMrush. I don't trust it nearly as much as I trust Moz or Ahrefs, but you know, it does have some helpful information. And one of the, here we go. So your main organic competitors, and again, this is just something that you're going to have to do a little bit more research on again with your niche. Okay. But for me, it's saying this channel Maven, whatever this is, and I could actually go and view this, which I will, just because I don't really care about. There is a free use limit, just so you guys know, on how much you can use this, and I think it's 10 clicks every 2 weeks or something like that. So you got to use it a little bit sparingly if this is your only source. But I don't really use it at all, so I don't care. So this is saying channel Maven Consulting, single founder, Sarah Clay Social, Marketing Monday, Karim Marable, however you say this, Punch Media. So it's telling me that these are my competitors. Now, with this information, if I wasn't aware of these, which, you know, I have my own competitive list that I monitor, but I could do this. Okay. So I can come and pull this over just like that, then go to the website. And now with this free Chrome tool extension from Moz, I can see what their page rank is, 35. I can see how many links they have. They have 1892 from 96 different places. So they really have 96 websites that are sending them links. Okay. That's important. That's important to note. And that's to this page. This is how many they have, 307 different websites pointing 526 page or 5,263 pages to the whole site itself. That's how you distinguish between those. Okay. And their spam score is 6%, which is actually not great. All right. Now we want to look at that apples to apples because we're comparing that to mine. So my page authority, well, let me go to my home page because this is an interior page. So it's a little bit, it's not a fair comparison. Okay. So for my home page, my page authority is 40. Their page authority is 35. So I win. They have 1892 links from 96 root domains. I have 973, which is less, but I have 385 different websites. So I actually have 4 times the number of websites pointing to my site. Okay. I have a domain authority for the site of 55. They have a site authority of 35. So I'm winning. Okay. They have a spam score of 6%. I have a spam score of 0. So I'm winning. So what I would expect is that on a Google search, I would outrank them. Hang on just one second. I got a kid crying in the background. It's the joys of having babies at our house. Okay, so this is the kind of information that you can use to help you. If you're not performing well on Google, you can start to see and analyze the differences between you and the people that are outranking you and what you need to do. If you're beating them here and here and here and here, but they're still beating you on Google, that gives you a couple clues as to why. Because again, if we come back to the SEO page to that list, right? We know there are 5 main things to focus on with Google. So it could be that they just have a lot more traffic than you. Maybe they're running ads. Maybe they're sending out 1 million emails a month. Maybe they're doing better on social media. So we need to focus on generating website traffic. Okay. Maybe, well, no, links was considered and we're doing better on links. So maybe it's website speed. Maybe we have a lot of videos or a lot of photos on our website and we need to make our website faster. So we might want to condense what's called CSS and get that so it's smaller. We might want to take some of the videos and just have a picture that we, when you click on it, it opens up the video on another page. There's a variety of ways to get your website to be faster. It could just be updating some of either your theme or your plugins. It could be reducing plugins that you don't use anymore. It could be that your WordPress is out of date and it needs to be updated. Again, there's a whole host of things that you can do. But if you have a better page authority, then the odds are your on-page content is better. Your website structure is probably better. So the 2 areas to focus on would be website speed and increasing outside website traffic off of Google to get your rankings up so that Google leapfrogs you over them. Because it does look at how many people come to your website. Now you can generate that with Google, obviously, by getting in the top 3 spots. But if you're not there, you're at a disadvantage because, again, remember, 60% of people that go to Google, and that's over 9 billion searches a day right now, by the way. It is a lot of people. 99,000 plus people per second do a search on Google every second on average of every single day in 2023. It is mind-boggling how many people are there on Google searching for things. So if you thought ChatGPT or Bard or any of these other systems were going to reduce how many people are relying on Google, it's actually had the opposite effect so far. More people are using Google than even last year because 2022's average was 7 billion people per day. That was 81,000 people per second on average, and it's now 99,000. So it's gone up, not down. Okay. So it's my pleasure, Oli. Thank you for staying with me and paying attention. I love it. All right. So one of the tools we shared, let's just recap a little bit because we're over time and I need to jump off. But let's recap and then we'll give you some homework if you want. All right. So one of the tools we shared, this is a free tool that you can pay for and get more information, but the free information is very helpful. Okay. This is called Moz. It's M-O-Z. If you're not familiar with it, moz.com. You can go into your extensions on Google and search Moz browser extension and then add that. And then you log in and then it knows if you're on the free plan or the paid plan. But then once you logged in, then you get the information. Okay. So you can go to SEMrush, find out who your competitors are, and then see how they're performing. So again, if I want to go to singlefounder.com, I can do the exact same thing I did before for the other one. I could come here. And now with this tool, I can see their page authority score is 34. Their domain authority score is 29. Those are both lower than mine. They have less links from less root domains than I do. They do have a 0% spam score, which is the best you can have. So we are even here, and I beat them the rest of the way. So again, if I go to Google now and find that the single founder blog is higher in the keyword searches than I am, then I need to focus on website speed and visitor traffic to help overcome whatever deficit I have there so that I overtake them overall. Okay. Because these are just indicators of how you're doing. This is what Moz thinks you're doing. Google has its own algorithm. And so you really need to focus primarily on Google's algorithm, not on Moz or Ahrefs or SEMrush or anybody else, whatever concoction somebody came up with. They're all just indicators to kind of give you an idea of how you should be performing on Google itself. Okay. Google is the ultimate authority here because that's where 92 to 94% of searches are happening. Search engine volume is the biggest monopoly I know of in business. If you take Google's number 2, number 3, and number 4 competitors, that's Bing, that's Yahoo, and that's DuckDuckGo. That's number 2, Bing, number 3, Yahoo, number 4, DuckDuckGo. That's across the whole world, by the way. And add those 3 up together. Their daily volume for those 3 people, less, or 3 companies, excuse me, less than 5% of all searches happen on those 3 platforms. So if you focus a strategy based on Bing, Yahoo, or DuckDuckGo, your strategy is on a very small percentage of overall users. 92 to 94% of people searching on search engines every single day, whether they're using their mobile device or whether they're using their desktop, are doing the search on Google. So if your strategy isn't Google centric, I would first start and ask you why, because that's where the lion's share of the volume is going to come from. Somewhere between 60 and 70% of internet traffic everywhere online at one point or another throughout the day runs through Google every single day. That's a lot of traffic to ignore. If strategies aren't Google friendly, then that's where you're missing. Okay. So again, back to recap here. This tool is very helpful in helping you evaluate how you should be doing on Google. Again, it's not 100%. You have to read between the lines and do the search, do the actual search, look for the keywords. I searched for, live on the show, digital marketing in Moreno Valley, and also searched for marketing in Moreno Valley. Let's just do one more test, right? SEO services. Okay. When I scroll down again, SEO local work, which is a whole different strategy we haven't talked about on the show, but how do you get there, right? But I'm number 1 on this, which is very helpful, and I get a lot of business from this. So I'm grateful for it. Okay. But really, where I'd really want to be number 1 is right here. And I'm not number 1 there. Okay. This is number 2. I'm not number 2. This is number 3. I'm not number 3. Let's see if I'm on the first page. Wah, wah, wah. Not there. Don't even care if I'm on page 2 because it's page 1 or bust for me, right? So I got work to do to get to become number 1. But the first thing you got to do is start with where you're at, right? So understand where you rank. And these tools, if you pay for them, can actually help you figure that out. I could go and tell you right now, according to Ahrefs or according to Moz, where I rank. But I can also go to Google Analytics, okay? This is what's great about Google Analytics. I can come down here and it can actually tell me, where people come from, it can tell me what page they go to. It can tell me if they were direct. So in other words, they just put Bowman Digital Media in. If they came from organic search, which is my second largest source, right? That's good. Those are the people that came from Google. Then I've got my organic social. That's how many people are coming from social media. Then I've got referrals from other websites. And then I've got unassigned. And that's typically for me coming from email campaigns. Okay. But then I can come down into my reports and I can see like my keywords. Hang on. I'm just trying to find it. And maybe I don't have time to find it, but maybe it's acquisition. They move this stuff around a lot. Yeah, I'm not seeing it on here, and I don't have time. Maybe that's not on analytics now I'm thinking about it. But anyways, okay. Get yourself Google Analytics because this is free and there's a lot of data in there. So it can be very helpful. But you need to monitor how much traffic you have on your website. If you ask me, Ira, how many people are on your website right now? I can tell you right now, according to Google Analytics, I have one person on my website and they're from the United States. And if I look at the map, I can even tell you where they're from, which is kind of cool too. So let me just go there real fast. Actually, I'm not seeing it. They've changed some stuff around on me and I'm not finding it. It's the pressure of the show. Oh, the pressure. It's getting me. Yeah, I'm not seeing. They used to have a map on there. I don't know. They might have moved it around. But it's important to know how many people on your site. Why? Because like today, I launched this show announcement for what I was going to be talking about, right? What is my ROI? What is my return on investment for the amount of time that I'm putting into the show, which so far we're at 1 hour and 24 minutes? How much traffic will this show generate? It's a consideration in whether I continue to do the show or not, honestly. Okay. And all your social media activities, all your email campaigns, all any, marketing or advertising, whatever form and shape that takes, you should consider what you're going to get back from it. There's an opportunity cost. It's 1 hour and 25 minutes. I could have been doing something else. Okay. But I know from previous results what my anticipated ROI is. So as long as I'm hitting those numbers and I'm okay with that trade-off. Remember, it's the cost versus the reward. So as long as the cost is not higher than the reward. So like if I was to do the show 3 weeks in a row and never get any website traffic or never get any sales out of the show, right? Then my reward for doing the show would be lower than the cost and I would cancel the show. I would do something else. But as long as my reward is higher than my cost, even if it's here or anywhere in between, then I'll keep doing the show. Now, the show might change based on this, right? The closer the reward is to the cost, then the likelihood is if it's worth doing, I could probably make a change and get that number higher. And that's what I do. If you really pay attention to the show over the couple of years I've been doing Marketing Mondays with Ira Bowman, it's changed a little bit. I used to have guests on all the time. I don't have as many guests as I used to. It's not because I can't get guests. I promise you, I can get people on the show. Problem is having them on the show doesn't necessarily help me. It helps them. And not that I'm opposed to helping people, but it's got to be a win-win for it to make sense, right? So now I'm educating you guys more on the topics directly as opposed to asking questions and letting my on-air guests help you. So when I have guests on, they have something typically that they can talk about that I don't necessarily have the experience to talk about, or I don't have the perfect, example, or it's somebody that I just really want to help introduce to the world. So I'm giving them the platform for that. But anyways, all right. I did not get to the second website and I apologize for that. The second website was jafricasafari.com. Let me just pull that up real fast because I want to not dismiss that and just give you an idea of where you are. Okay, Safari. Hang on, I have to put J Africa. Sorry, J Africa Safari. Screen. One thing right out of the gate, it is loading slow. I don't know if that's my internet speed or if that is your website speed needs to be fixed, but it's something that you might want to look at. Your site speed loaded a little slow. Now you have a domain authority of 9, so that's higher than the 5 from Steadfast. You have a page authority, by the way, at 25, which means if your domain authority, your website gets fixed, your DA realistically should be at least 25. Okay. If this number is higher than your domain authority, then that means your homepage is good, but your overall website needs some work. There are clues in this, right? So even for Cherie with Steadfast, she has a page authority score of 19, which means you have a lot of good stuff on your website. It may not be relevant to what your avatar, your ICP is really going after. So we have to consider that. And again, we've kind of talked about it at nauseum now. By updating this would be my suggestion, or maybe changing out this video. Okay. So you have to identify who the audience is, figure out what their pain points are, and then address that in here, specifically with the keywords that they're searching for on Google, right? So what are my people looking for? Well, they're looking for SEO services or they're looking to increase their sales. And so that's why I have on my homepage addressed those things. Again, with this view, you can't see the whole thing, but if you go to your computer and look at my website, you'll see how it views for people. They can see Bowman Digital Media SEO agency, but then they can see this question, need more sales, and they can also see this question, want to rank higher on Google. And I've given them a video that addresses both of these topics in one video right here, right? And then I have more videos here describing what it is we actually do. I've got an advantage here. We have no long-term contract obligation. So in other words, our services are month to month. And a lot of small business owners really like that because they're not locked into a contract that if for whatever reason it doesn't work, they can't get out of. Okay. So giving people some of these things is a really good advantage and why people come to Bowman Digital Media. Now, this right here tells me that you have 123 links from 36 root domains. Now, just off the bat, that's better than Steadfast, but it's less than mine, right? So you're in the middle, which you can see score-wise, you're at a 9 and Steadfast Developments is a 5 and Bowman Digital Media is a 55. Okay. So that kind of gives you an idea where you could expect to rank between the three websites would be right in the middle. So you would be above Steadfast, you would be below Bowman Digital Media with one unrealistic thing here, and that is that we were all competing against each other. Our websites were for the same thing, which they are not, obviously. So you're not competing with Bowman Digital Media or Steadfast Development. You're competing with other people in the who would rank for Africa or Safari or any of those things. And I don't have time to take it further than that, but hopefully you can take the lessons that I applied for finding your competition on semrush.com and then go look at their websites and evaluate how you stack up to them. Because ultimately, that's all that matters here. You don't have to compete with, like I was talking to my insurance agent earlier today, right? And I have a few different insurance agents at a few different companies for different products that I have, right? But I have, State Farm and Geico and a few different, policies at different places. And so one of the things they wanted to do was kind of compare, policies and see if they could, obviously give me a better deal or whatever. But when I'm searching for insurance and I go onto Google and I do a search for, life insurance or health insurance or car insurance or whatever type of insurance I need, I don't care if YouTube has a higher ranking, statistics, all that stuff than the insurance companies. Why? Because it's not relevant to my current search. So you only really truly have to compete with the people that are in your space. And by space, I mean vertical market. So anybody that's in the insurance business or anybody that writes about insurance related topics could also be vying for, competing for those eyeballs. That's what I was telling Cherie earlier. She's in a very niche industry, right? So if you go to steadfastdevelopment.com and check the website out, you can see what she does. Okay. But on Google, it doesn't matter if the people that they're showing are directly in competition with her, or maybe they just have written content about it for a whole different reason. They are technically her competition. So if you go search the terms that you think people are searching for, there's a clue that you need somebody like me to help you. You should know the terms. One of the very first things we do for our new SEO clients is do keyword research, and we figure out what terms people are searching in that genre, and we figure out how, not only what terms they're using, how often they search them, and what are the competition from other websites. In other words, how many other websites are out there that have information on this topic that you're competing against in Google, right? This is one of the ways I know if somebody's using a professional agency or not. If they can answer these questions, if they have data on these answers, then typically they have somebody working for them that does the work for them. Because most people, no offense, they're not into marketing and they don't understand how all this works. So that's okay. You don't have to know how it works. You just have to understand that it's out there enough to know that you need the help, right? And then you can either bring in an intern, hire an employee, or hire in an agency to do it for you, or you can take the time to read books and learn it yourself. Look, one of the reasons why I'm learning this particular feature is because I want to do the day trading myself. I don't want to pay the commissions for a broker firm to do the trading for me. And anyways, so I'm reading about it. The opportunity cost is what? The opportunity cost is I don't have to pay the brokerage fee, whatever they would cost to manage it for me. But the trade-off is I have to take the time to learn it. And then I'm probably not going to be quite as good at it, obviously, as a professional. So I might not make as much money, or I might lose money in cases where if I had their advice, I might have been better off, right? So everything comes with trades, but it's the same with your website. It's the same with your marketing. You could try to do it all yourself. The opportunity cost is it's cheaper. But the drawback is you might not get the same results, and those results can cost you future revenue in the form of reduced sales. So is it worth the trade? Do you need more things on your plate? Right? As a small business owner, you're in charge or responsible for everything. Then do you really want to add more to it, or do you want to take some of that stuff off? Right? And that's the people who say, hey, I want to take stuff off and I'm willing to pay the couple $100 a month or a couple $1,000s a month that it costs to do whatever it is that needs to be done in exchange for my free time to focus on the things I could be doing that generate revenue or allow me to have, some time for self-care or to hang out with my wife or my kids or whatever. Right. So there you go. All right. I think we've come to the logical conclusion of this particular show. Just to summarize again what we talked about, we spent a lot of time talking about the ICP, which is your ideal client profile or your avatar in the beginning of the show. Basically, I think for about 30 minutes, why that's important, why you need to do that before you really come up with any of your marketing campaigns. We talked about the header of your website. The header of your website or your landing page, whichever one it is, needs to really talk about, or question related to the keywords that your ideal audience are searching in a search engine. So on Google, they go on Google, and in the search bar, what we call the query, they put in an expression, that's the query or search term, and they hit enter, and then Google populates the results. You need to figure out what they're putting there. And then you need to answer that in the form of a quick statement or a quick question. So for me, it's need more sales, because ultimately the people that are going to hire me aren't selling as much as they think they should be, or they wouldn't hire me. Because if they were happy with their sales, they would be like, hey, we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. It's working fine, right? But they obviously want to increase their sales. So they're looking for, marketing firms who can help them increase sales. So there it is. The other thing that people come to me in droves for is because they know they're not ranking high enough on Google and they want help ranking higher on Google. So I have those two questions on my main header. Then every other page, if you go to it, you'll see I've got different pain points addressed based on the specific page. And that's one of the things that you all can do and you should do is consider that for each and every one of those pages that you have, especially the ones that you want to rank high on Google. You may have some interior pages. You go, Ira, I don't really care if I get a lot of people on this particular page. It's there for people who have already become clients, or maybe they're on the website and they have additional questions. Well, okay, so maybe I don't need my FAQ page to rank high, or my contact page to rank high, or my legal notices page to rank high. Then don't worry about adjusting those particular pages. But any of them, like for me at Bowman Digital Media, we have 6 services, right? We have the SEO, right, which is what we've been talking about today. We have website development. So somebody who doesn't have a website, but they need a website, right? We can build them for them. We talk about that. We have graphics design. We have social media management. We have photography, and we have video services. So shooting videos, editing videos, animating videos. We have all those services. Okay. So for each of those pages, what's up at the top and the pain point that those people have is going to be a little bit different. If they need video services help, they probably don't care so much about the SEO. They just have frustrations with their editing. So, okay, we can shoot it for you. We can edit it for you. We can add, cool intro, outro. We can add your closed captions, whatever. You might want some new alpha graphics. That's like your pop-up screens, right? Like we can do all of that. Okay. But their headache is going to be different than somebody who's like, hey, you know what? I got this business and I know I need to be on LinkedIn. I know I need to be on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or whatever. And I don't have the time or the inclination to deal with it myself. Can you help? Yes, we can. It's a different pain point. See what I mean? So each page that you have wouldn't say need more sales, want to rank higher on Google. That's what it says on my homepage. But my other interior pages, it addresses something else. Hopefully that all makes sense. I don't have a topic yet selected for next week. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to invite you, if you have a burning marketing question, you're like, Ira, I don't even know where to begin on something like this. Or, you know what, Ira, we've been doing this for a while and we're just not like email marketing. We have no idea what we're doing. Can you help us? So I pose it to you, my loyal people who have watched this show. I was going to call you fans, but let's say followers, whatever. But for those of you still watching, if you want to have some direction in the show or the form the show takes next week, I'll let you propose the topic in the comments, and I'll be happy to pick one of the topics from the comments or suggestions I get, and we'll go from there next week. This show, by way of reminder, is on every Monday, well, almost every Monday. Marketing Mondays comes to you live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. 11 o'clock Pacific time. That's 2 o'clock Eastern time. So if you're a part of the world, you're like, I don't even know what Pacific time is. That's okay. I get it. People in the United States pretty much know what Pacific time is, but it's 2 p.m. Eastern time. So you can time adjust however you need to. But if you miss an episode, you can always go on to bowmandigitalmedia.com and watch it. I have in the tab under About is Marketing Mondays. You can go watch any of the previous episodes, and there's a lot of them there. You can also just go to our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube, Ira Bowman, I think it's Ira M. Bowman. But anyways, find me on YouTube, and then the channel's there under the live section. You can see all the shows there as well. All right. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful afternoon, a great week. And I look forward to seeing you all again next time around. Have a great day, everybody. BowmanDigitalMedia.com.